Okay, your professor has a problem being succinct when making these instructional videos, these companion videos. So I apologize for that. Thanks for staying with me. I'm going to try and do better. Now, one point I want to make is everything that I've sort of discussed and illustrated up till now, other than the word generation, I think applies really across the K-6 spectrum. I would expect our primary teachers to be thinking about teaching target words, to be thinking about sort of creating that word flood in their classroom, and thinking about content, vocabulary, and posters and so forth, and thinking about teaching those small sets of words for application, whether it's the character trait terms, some of I wouldn't necessarily go down to primary with the all those and even those and so forth, but never, at least think about that small set of words that you want to live with across the year and that you really want kids to be able to apply, in their learning and in classroom discussion and so forth. All right. The last element of our four elements then is the word learning strategies. Now this sounds quite a bit like Mike Graves, so I won't spend a lot of time sort of laying that out. But again, it's the point that a lot of word learning takes place outside of the words that we're explicitly teaching students. And if we can help them be more strategic in terms of inferring and learning words in their own reading and in their own settings, then we've really done something in terms of contributing to their overall vocabulary growth. For the most part, these word learning strategies boil down, for most of us, and, I'd be quite similar to Mike in this regard, to sort of using morphemic analysis, being able to look at those meaningful parts in words and kind of break them apart and add them back together to say what an unfamiliar word means. Our own instruction in this regard, and you're going to read the article, really is focused on affixes, prefixes and suffixes at the 3rd, 4th, 5th grade level. Because I think that's a great sort of place to make this kind of teaching concrete for our younger learners. I think a lot of the root instruction and more advanced sort of instruction is better probably suited for middle school and beyond, especially as kids get into content areas where some of the Latin and Greek roots, for instance, really apply in a science context, a biology context, and so forth. So, of course, that's one of your readings for this week, is going to be my manuscript that hopefully we'll get through in print, fairly soon. At the reading teacher. And so, give that a read, think about it, and if you're up at that level or you have colleagues at that level, I hope you'll share it with them. Now, I also have a classroom video that I am posting that shows kids involved in this process that we call sort of morpheme grouping, where the kids are finding their peers with the same sort of root word or base word, and then analyzing the words that they have into prefixes and base and suffix and talking about what they mean and then sharing that with the class. I think you'll really enjoy that and be pretty impressed. That was a 3rd grade classroom. Okay, the last piece here, and actually I should say, a lot of that affix instruction all starts with sort of explicit PowerPoint lessons that introduce the new affix family and give the kids the first more sort of direct, explicit exposure to them. If you'd like to have those, I can upload them, and and I'm glad to share. They've been very, very successful for us. Okay, the last piece of this is that use of context clues to infer word meanings. We've done that for a number of years now across 4th grade, 5th grade, and now the 3rd grade's work. And in each case, we've taught explicit sort of types of context clues, definitional, synonym, general, antonym, and tried to give kids practice in applying them. this is the part that I've probably been least involved with and given the least amount of thought to, because this was really my partner Jim Bauman's strength from his previous research background. And we've seen very positive outcomes from sort of pre to post tests, meaning that kids appear to be able to, to learn to use these strategies. I'd have to say this is also the assessment that I'm least sort of enthralled with. I think that there may be some validity issues around it, but nonetheless, we do feel like kids are learning and being able to apply a little more strategically this idea of using context to infer word meaning. Now, again, I'd like to stress, the Common Core fell in love with this idea. It's embedded in sort of this notion of close reading, of using context to infer key word meanings and so forth. It's not easy. It probably doesn't belong down in the earlier grades, the primary grades. It's probably better suited for the upper grades and even more as we move on into secondary. So at the elementary grades, I like the idea that we're giving kids some good robust exposure to this, and then maybe as they get into 5th grade, really starting to expect a little more in terms of them being able to independently apply it. But I want to caution everybody that the research demonstrates that this is it's highly strategic. And so for instance, lower readers are dealing with just sort of getting through the text, word recognition. They know less of the words within the context, so it becomes harder and harder to actually use context to infer word meanings. And that's in the best case scenarios. In the worst case scenarios, context can be sort of totally non-directive or even sort of misdirective in terms of what a word might mean. So, I think that this does deserve some instructional attention, starting 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade. But, I think that if you shouldn't put too many eggs in this basket, and especially not too early. So I will also publish a little bit of our materials in terms of teaching contextual analysis or use of context clues. And I think when it goes hand in hand with some of with the morphemic strategies and so forth, that it really does have a role to play in terms of helping kids become better independent word learners. All right, that's it. Again, somehow, some way, these videos just need to last a half an hour, and I apologize for that. I think that I feel good about the vocabulary units and coming down now to this sort of series of comprehensive approaches. I really look forward to discussing it with you in the threaded discussion, seeing what you guys think. All right, have a great week and a great module, and I'll be with you in the discussions. Bye.